one, and then you have to be quiet for a while. Can I have a banana? Okay. Come over here, Fabio, because Guy will talk a little bit about William Blake.
Bring on.
We just went to the Tate Britain, not the other one. There is a very beautiful exhibition there called Romantics to Romantics. But his main focus is 8 very small engravings which somebody found in a railway map. You know, it's second-hand bookshop, and they're really beautiful. The show is on till about September. I think for 3 months, and it's free, and you have to have a look. It's so beautiful. Chris, you can sit here because Guy is about to give a talk. Yeah, no, because he has to leave. Because I think people are arriving more towards 5 o'clock. So anyway, Guy, say something about William Blake. A bit louder.
I haven't started yet.
No, a bit louder because the sound coming from. Okay.
You alright? They give you some room.
Well, I just thought I'd talk about this thing today. I only just thought this morning that I might talk about this because I knew about we were going to meet in the room with the William Blakes at the Tate. And I also knew that David had said in one of the emails that there was a theme this afternoon having to do with cut, uncut. I didn't know what he meant, but I thought, oh, this ties in with it as well, because what I wanted to talk about was the way I wanted to talk about one of William Blake's songs. You know, he wrote these famous songs when he was quite young, called Songs of Innocence and of Experience, which he described as the 2 contrary states of the human soul, that is, innocence and experience. And one of the Songs of Experience is called London, and it's about London. And that's the one that I want to say something about. Because a very interesting book was published recently, which I'm going to dip into now and again, called William Blake, Creation of the Songs, by Michael Phillips. And he traced the way in which Blake had written each of these songs with the first effort, the first attempts, and then changing words, adding words, being dissatisfied with the words and substituting new ones until he arrived at a poem that he was satisfied with. And I thought that was very interesting too, because you might imagine that a person like Blake, he simply sort of effused these poems just like that out of himself. But actually he had serious doubts sometimes as to whether the word was the right word or not, and he would sometimes cross the word out and came back again, decided a bit later on that actually it was okay, or sometimes not. So that's the connection with cutting and uncutting. Anyway, this poem called London has 4 verses, or 4 stanzas. And each stanza is an incredibly compressed image. Hello. Hello there. I'm just giving a little talk.
Yeah, I can see it.
Not very long.
Build a bit further back here.
Poem consisting of 4 stanzas. And he'd written 3 of them at the point at which I wanted to begin. He'd written 3 of them, and he was wanted to add a 4th verse. And this poem is full of very, very compressed images which tell a great deal in a very succinct way. So first of all I'm going to read the final version, or the version that he was happy with, and then go back to some of the doubts he had and some of the changes he made. So this is how it goes finally. Yeah. I wander through each dirty street, near where the dirty Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet, marks of weakness and of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls. and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through wintry streets I hear how the midnight harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and hangs with plagues the marriage hearse. The two lines where he says, and the hapless soldier's and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. I love the way that he used the word hapless there, hapless soldier, and actually that phrase, the hapless soldier, survived from the earliest version of the poem until the last one. You know, hapless somehow means without, by circumstance, or without having any control over what happens to you.
It's a bit like unlucky, isn't it?
What is it like?
Unlucky.
Unlucky.
Kind of.
It's hapless.
Soldiers, kind of.
Yes, it's sort of you get caught up in something without any intention of it. Of course, the soldier, that's what happened to the soldier, somebody who was pressed into becoming a soldier. And then there's a sigh, the hapless soldier's sigh, which seems to stand for his fate, really. Because he had no control over it. And runs in blood down palace walls. So the sigh runs into blood. The sigh suddenly becomes blood, and palace walls is the kings and the emperors, the soldier had to fight and get killed.
You speak louder, slightly louder.
Yeah, a bit louder. Yes, yes. But that's another thing I have to explain, because Rico is just newly arrived from Mexico. Rico, Rico
No, but I understand.
No, but there is a thing here called the chimney sweep. You know, when I first arrived in England, it was new for me. They like, this is a chimney, and they used to sweep underneath it, and they covered with sweet.
Got all black.
They got all black. It was amazing. And we did a play written by Francis Pond called Les Savons, and by a French poet. And we had this dance with the chimney sweeps, and then we all got all the charcoal and the coal carbon. It's all gone now, but a lot of what Blake writes about is still the same.
But they used to be children, didn't they?
Yeah, little kids.
They can climb up the chimney.
Because they can climb up the chimney.
Yeah.
We used to have a chimney like that at Westminster Bridge. That's why we had chimney sweeps, you know.
And what does hapless mean? Controlled by circumstances. Outside of your control.
Yes, basically, it's just something that happens to you. Like if there's a flood, like in Pakistan, it's just like people are hapless because they don't have any control,
Like fortuitous.
Yeah, that's.
Is this what you believe? That you have no control over?
No, it's not Blake.
Yeah. I was just asking you.
I don't
We're just trying to determine the word.
Yeah, well, it's a very powerful criticism of the poem, called London, but it's a criticism of the whole society. And there are interesting contemporary things going on at the time that he wrote that, which I'll come to in a minute. Anyway, he added the last verse that I wrote was the one that he added. Then